Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 7 of our class, EDUC 407. I'm sorry this is getting to you a little bit later than normal. I know Saturday we had internet issues, at least in the city of Bakersfield, at least till 10:30 at night, and there were still some issues on Sunday, and then I've had issues at school for the last couple of days, so I'm finally able to get this video made. You'll notice that I've posted the assignments already into Blackboard. I got that taken care of. The only problem that I had was just making this video. So hopefully you'll have that all set up now. A few things to note: I have finished grading everything up through week 6. So if you still haven't turned in something, please get that to me as soon as possible, because we've only got basically a week and a half left. So it's really important that you get your grades in, your assignments in, so I can update grades. And if I've made a mistake, please let me know so I can go through and take care of it. I've seen some really good discussions on Slack with people with regards to your collaborative storytelling, which I thought a lot of the videos were awesome. I had a lot of fun watching them. But I also noticed that a lot of people didn't do the book reading and have that discussion within Slack, so that really does play an impact on some people. So I'm hoping that you're reading the book and you're starting to work on that, because this over the next couple weeks we're getting to the end of the course where you need to make sure your template is all taken care of. But let's go forward and talk about what we have to do this week. So for the first part, we have 3 assignments this week. One is on remote learning spaces. Then you have a second part where you have to talk in your book club about slide number 6. That's going to be in Slack. And then the last one is creating a Google Classroom. Now, these assignments are due on the 9th of October. Obviously due dates, I'm not worried about that. Although, as we come to the end of the course, that last due date, I believe it's like the 16th of October, that's going to be kind of a hard and fast one. So if you are missing stuff, please, please, please take care of it. I don't want you to fall that far behind to the point where that's it. There's not much I can do, because you have to turn it in in order for me to grade it. Okay, so let's look at some of these assignments. And also, I just want to remind you guys, we are meeting in class on this week. So for those that are going to meet inside class, make sure 5 o'clock. Again, I try to get you guys out of there by 6, so it's not really a long time. But if you have to meet on Zoom, I'll have the Zoom link in the announcements, as well as the email that I'm going to be sending out shortly. But please make sure you are attending, so that way I can help you out, especially if there's any grade issues, because I want to take care of that during that time, so you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so let's look at our first assignment. So remote learning spaces, you're going to look at 3 links regarding remote or distance learning. Now, I know we're kind of getting away from remote or distance learning because the pandemic is officially over, but realistically, we have a lot of students that still are getting COVID. We have a lot of parents, family members, so it's still going to be there where students will miss class. So remote learning or distance learning is still going to be something we do. Technically, this class is halfway distance learning. So you want to make sure that you're looking at these links with regards to remote learning spaces, and we'll kind of go over those. You're going to post on Slack on the thread #remote-learning 5 tips that you feel are important for remote or distance learning. Now, your experiences, for some of you guys, you have been dealing with distance learning for a while, whether you are working in a school district or you've been taking classes during this entire time. I want you to come up with 5 tips for teachers for remote or distance learning based upon your experiences and what you read. And again, it may not be something that you've read, but your experiences can also help shape how you're going to be a teacher and what you would have to do during that situation. So again, give me 5 tips, easy tips that, if someone had to go on remote or distance learning, and heaven forbid we should ever have to go as crazy as we did, what would be some tips you would give people? Okay, let's look at our next assignment. It's the book club. So you're reading chapters 7 and 8 this week, and then you're completing slide 6 on your template. Remember, you're not turning your template to me. You're just discussing with your groups what's happening in your project that you're creating, so that way, as you're formulating everything, getting everything done, you have an idea and you're bouncing ideas off of each other. Okay. Again, when you're meeting with your group on Slack, if you want to set up a time to do it, great. If you don't want to set up a time and you just want to kind of post things, so that way at least you get them on there, so then if people respond, then we're good, I'm okay with that. but you gotta post something on Slack. I noticed a lot of people did not do that this last week. You did a great job with your collaborative storytelling assignment, and the videos were really awesome, especially the different types of videos. I loved it. I watched them. I was really impressed. But then I looked, there was nothing on it regarding your book reading. So please make sure we get that done, because that's going to be important, because before you know it, last week's going to be here. So make sure you're reading chapters 7 and 8 and completing slide 6 and discussing it with your fellow members. And our last assignment is creating a Google Classroom. So you're going to have to follow some instructions on Blackboard on how to set up your Google Classroom account. We're going to go over that in just a second. But you're basically creating a test class. You can call it EDUC 407 test class. That's fine. What you're going to be doing on Google Classroom is putting what we call an introduction or hook. That could be a short video. That could be a commercial. That could be some sort of activity that hooks kids in. Then you're going to put a lesson video on there. We created a lesson video already, so why not use what you've already done before? So if you've got your lesson video still, use that. Make the whole unit based upon what you did, because why recreate the wheel? So make sure you put the lesson video and embed it in Google Classroom. Have some sort of activity. So that could be a worksheet, that could be something, a choice board, hint, hint, that you might do based upon that. And then fourth, you need to do an assessment. Oh wait, didn't we do an assessment? Hey, again, make sure you use that Google form quiz. That could be something to help you out. Again, I don't want you having to recreate the wheel. I just want you to get used to using Google Classroom in such a way that it might be helpful for you, especially for districts that use that regularly. Some other districts use different things, but if you know how to use that, it really does transfer over. And then the last thing is an extension or final activity. So after you've done the lesson, you've done the introduction, you've done the activity, you've assessed them, then what? Is there an extension activity you could give them that will really help them understand the material and really emphasize the material? Or is there a final activity to kind of bring it all together? Is there maybe a video to watch that kind of puts it together for them so they can see that if they got it right? Those are some type of things that you can do. Okay, so please make sure you are getting all those things done. Now let's look at what it looks like in Blackboard. So here I am. We are in Blackboard week 7, designer and facilitator. So you're designing something. First thing is the remote learning spaces. So you definitely want to click on that. You're going to post in the Slack thread hashtag remote learning 5 tips for remote or distance learning spaces. So we've got 3 links here. If one of the links doesn't work, just do your best job on that. You can definitely, Google a lot of distance learning topics or remote learning topics, but these are 3. Sometimes the links don't work. They worked for me like last session, but then all of a sudden they disappear. There's nothing I can do about that. Once that happens, then I have to figure that out. But read those articles. Give me 5 tips. They could be just personal experience, what you had to deal with. Definitely want to do that there. That's the first assignment. The second assignment is your book club meeting. Read chapters 7 and 8. Complete slide 6. And meet on Slack with your book club this week and discuss those questions on slide 6. And just kind of have a quick discussion, between you group members, and maybe that might help you kind of design that project and get everything where it needs to be. For the last assignment, the Google Classroom intro video right here, I've got something where I've created where I've used some of my stuff that I've used on Google Classroom, and kind of give you step by step, like how to do certain things, how to embed a video, how to put an assignment on there. Those are some things there to help you. If you do run into difficulties, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would definitely be more than happy to help you out with this. Okay, and the assignment itself. So you notice that there's some instructions here because I want to make sure you're adding in as a teacher. Okay, so make sure you go to classroomgoogle.com. Select that you're a teacher. Now, if you've used it in such a way that you are in a teacher mode, then you won't have to do too much. If you haven't used it in a teacher mode and you've just been a student, then you might have to create another account in order to do so. Hopefully with Laverne, you shouldn't have any difficulties with it. Make sure you press the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner to create a class. Don't click join class because then it kind of defaults to a student. You want to create a class. Label based on subject, you can just say EUC 407 test class. That's perfectly fine. Or you can say English 101. I'm not worried about what it says, just that you have something in case you use it for other classes. If you cannot create a class, if you don't have any access, please let me know. Reach out to me as soon as possible because we want to help you out as much as we can. Think of a unit you might teach in a regular classroom, but you're teaching online. But because we've done a lot of the stuff already, use the same stuff. Please don't try to recreate the wheel. So make sure you add those following components to it. Once you've done it in Google Classroom, here's the thing you will have to do, and it's really important. There's no way you can add me to Google Classroom, even with the Laverne account or even with my current High account, because it just don't talk to each other that way. Google Classroom is really weird about that, and they do try to keep it where it's like all self-contained. So that means they don't want outsiders to be able to get access to it or administrators to have access to it. So what you're going to have to do is do a screencast of all the features you have in Google Classroom for this assignment. So you have to show me where your introduction or hook is. Your lesson video. You don't have to play the lesson video. You just have to show me that it's embedded in there. Again, you should already have that ready to go. Show me the activity you're going to do with them. It could be a worksheet. It could be a project. It could be something like that, however you want to do it. Show me the assessment, which should be your Google Forms file already made. If you're using the same thing, it's ready to go. And then whatever extension or final activity, kind of bring it all together. It could be an exit ticket if you want to do that. That's something that some people like to use. Please make sure, just show me what you're doing. You're not going to go into super duper detail. It shouldn't take you too long to do the screencast. I'm thinking maybe a minute or two to show me all the components. And once you do that, make sure you submit the link from YouTube, so make sure I can see it, that I can view it and see how your Google Classroom is, and that way I give you the points. Okay, so please, if you do run into any issues, obviously we're going to meet on Thursday so we can talk a little bit more about it, but if you run into any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. When it comes to grading, again, please make sure that you are checking your grades regularly, so that way I can, keep things updated. If something happens, and I've had a few students reach out to me, some issues, please, I want to work with you, but you have to remember, I'm kind of stuck by a deadline. So when we think about our last week, the 16th of October is the actual end date for the class. You got to make sure you're getting that stuff in by that date. We'll talk more during our actual class time, as well as getting ready for our final week. If you do have any questions, reach out to me. I look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. So hopefully you guys are having a good week. And hopefully we won't have any internet issues during that time, because I know that's been kind of a headache for a lot of people. But I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and I hope everything's going well.